Hey guys, we're into another episode of Real Talk with Joe and Cody. Cody, what's going on, man?
Here we are. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. We don't have a podcast tomorrow, unfortunately. I know people are on the edge of their seats waiting for us to hear, but you and I just have too much going on right now. So I apologize. We'll try to make up for it.
Yes,
We'll
we'll
do
do
some
it.
like
We'll do it
really
tonight.
cool thing. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
do some
it'll
really
be
cool
a
thing. And
midnight. We'll ring in the new day.
We should do it New Year's. See how many people join us on New Year's, which
Yeah,
will be no one. Well, I don't think we
just
would even do it with each other, but like,
no. We could create our own little avatars that do it for us.
yeah, that's true. AI. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. I did one. There was, and I should send it to you. I was gonna put it. Um, Riverside, the app we use to record these, they have like an AI. You can make us a cartoon, like basically make
Okay.
like 30 to 60-second clips of us talking, and it looks
Yeah.
like two little cartoons talking.
Oh, no way.
The design of us is just ridiculous, but it was pretty funny. But
That's awesome.
anyways,
I made a an AI, what do they call it? AI twin the other day. So
really,
you know
where's
that on the captions
Oh yeah,
app
yeah.
that you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you you can do an AI twin. So I did it just to see what it looked like.
And what is it?
And I mean, you can definitely tell it's AI. It's obviously me. Like they have you record
Yeah.
like a script and you read it out and everything. And so they use that. The voice is a little off and you can tell, like on when you can tell that somebody's not actually saying the words. The mouth is moving and it's pretty
moving,
close to it. But if you're actually
yeah.
like if you didn't know the person, you might not think anything of it. But
For
it's
sure.
like if people know you and they see that, they'd be like, what is going on there? But it was,
For sure.
I mean, it's scary because it was probably a minute's worth of time of just recording and doing this. And then it can recreate that. That's really pretty similar to you.
Yeah.
So it's a little scary, but
yeah, captions is a really good one. There's another one that I just found. Let me see if I can find it. It's called Creatify, and it's super funny. It's awesome. It's more for ad-based stuff, but you can put like you drop a link to a URL, so it works a lot for products and things like that. But I put our real estate website in there, and it takes it, and you can create like someone talking about you can create a promotional ad, you can create just about us, you can write your own script, and an AI, like a person you can pick the person, pick what they look like, pick everything, and they will use similar to captions. They'll do the B-roll film and the person in there talking about Skipper Realty Group and what they do and how they're leading edge of this, blah blah blah. It's crazy. Like it's crazy. So I'm taking deep dives into these things that can kind of help us help the business kind of function in the future. Which is kind of on topic because a couple of things. One, rates suck, and they're just
they suck,
just continuing to suck.
Yes.
And so I think Christine and I were talking this morning about it's so we say it until we're like, well, for me, red in the face, like more ginger than I ever am. Is like it's so important to get the proper people to work with in this environment. Like it cannot be if your best friend, next door neighbor, whatever is a really good agent or a really good lender, totally fine. But I think that it's so important to work with someone that knows what they're doing, like in this market, because it's going to save you thousands upon thousands of dollars potentially. You could get away with it and be like, hey, sold it myself, bought it myself, sold it with the buddy, whatever. That's an offshoot of the market, and it's totally valid. But in general, I've just heard recently these horror stories from people that are like, this happened and it should never have happened, and this happened, it should never have happened. We had a deal just recently fail, unfortunately, because of the lack of should I say it lack of ability of the other party, so it's just with all these crappy rates and crappy things going on in the real estate market, we were just chatting about how like people go into these deals not knowing what they don't know, and then getting hurt by it in the long run. So anyways,
and it's like everything. Everybody wants a deal, no matter what you're purchasing. Even if it's a $20 item, you're looking to try to find it for 18 or 16 or whatever. But it's very rare that you run into that situation where you get the cheaper version of something and it ends up being great. It's like there's a reason why that person or that thing is a little bit more expensive than the other versions because it's going to last longer. It's better. It's quality. It's all these things. And I think it's, it's hard with real estate. You're looking at, the mortgage side, the real estate side, all of it. It's like, you're talking big numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, I mean, your example there that you just had it didn't go through. And that was just a, potentially a byproduct of
on the ability. It wasn't based on anything else that was out of anyone's hands. And it's just a really sad case. And people don't hear that side of things. And I don't know. Yeah. And it's a big cost. I don't want to downplay the fact that people want to save a couple bucks here and there and save a few $1,000s in some cases, but just being aware that what you're getting is an agent that works on quantity, not quality. And they're going to just pump you out like a little widget, and they're going to, they're going to sell you in the front end, and then you'll never hear from them again.
Because they have to. They have to. They're cutting their normal commission in half or whatever the number is. Sure. It's like, naturally, if you're reducing your cost, then you're going to have to do more business, which means it's like, okay, hurry up and crank them out rather than, taking that time and giving that full on experience and also feeling like that's, you're worth it. You don't have to be a discount place just to get the business. So
for sure. Yeah. And with lending, it's like, not only can you can get better deals just like real estate agents, but it's like, I think that you and I connected and, other lenders that I've connected with, they're very few, but it's like, they're the ones that communicate and treat the client like a person the entire time. And I know that sounds maybe cheesy and maybe we're like, oh, well, I'm not paying X amount of money just for someone to talk to me. But trust me, when you go through these transactions and they're not cookie cutter and the rates are all changing every day and things are happening in a 30-day process or less, you've got to have people you can call, at any time and text at any time and respond. They will respond, not the agent that signed you up and then moving on to the next 300 clients they've got because they need to make, they need to make their salary or their commission check or whatever it might be. So anyways, just a crazy market. Right now, is. We did see, like, anecdotally, oddly enough, last week we picked up a lot, like, of buyers looking to buy listings, kind of like listing showings and things like that. And then it just kind of has gone back to deflated going into this weekend. So we'll see, man. It's just a crazy ride, but that's why it's more important to be with people that know what they're doing. I saw this article. It's a real estate news article, and it basically says that people, the industry is resilient, but it doesn't always meet the consumer's needs. So they surveyed a bunch of people, and many of the people surveyed had difficulty choosing their agent. When they asked why, they said nearly half admitted that they didn't know what qualities they should be looking for in an agent. People don't know what they really want when it comes to details of buying and selling. They know what they feel, but don't know what they think or what about the process. So, which is insane to me. It is not insane on the buyers or the sellers side of things. I just think it's a thing in our industry that we've talked about, I feel like we repeat this every single week, so I apologize if we do. It's like, you can't you have to pick quality. Like, you have to have someone that knows what they're doing. And it's sad that, like, most people surveyed have no idea what to look for in an agent.
Right.
Yeah. Or lender.
I mean, well, an example, somewhat of an example of that. I've got a client that was sent over to me about a week ago, and first time buyer, didn't have a clue about any of it, which is to be expected. And she was going to fill out an application and followed up with her a couple times. And she texted me last night and she's like, hey, I'm just really worried that if I sign up with you and then you're not able to get me the house, what do I do there? And I was like, I think that's kind of plays into that whole survey of like, I don't really know exactly how this whole thing works. Like, even to the point, because we really haven't been able to communicate. It's been more like, get a minute with her here, text with her here. But I'm like, okay, let's set up some time today to where we can walk through this and explain how each of these steps works and what, like, you're not committed to me. First of all, I'm not finding you a home, but second of all, you're not committed to me or any of this stuff. Like, this is just us starting to open up the door of, what you can qualify for, what options you have, what does it even look like. But I think there's probably a lot of people that are in that boat of just like, I don't really even know what to look for, what the process is like, what any of this stuff is like, unless, you know, sometimes people do some deep diving. This person that I'm talking about, she's older, so I don't think the internet is her go-to search. I think a lot of people, you know, younger people, it's like they do the YouTube, they do the Google, they go to social media, and they kind of gather enough information to have a general idea. But for those that don't, they're like, I don't know.
For sure.
I don't know who to pick or why to pick a person.
I know. And it's hard. It's like, I guess like between me and you, and that's why we do what we do. It's like, it's educational. I don't think we get on just to like hear ourselves talk. I think we like that, but but I think so that good. We want, like, I honestly, it sounds so dumb, but it's like I want people to know what they're getting into, because I don't think, and you know, people can knock me all they want, but I don't think our agents or our career field does anything to help people understand the process and understand what we're worth and why we're worth it. And so when I came into this industry, I was like, I'm little bits at a time trying to like change that to provide value to people, that they're like, this is worth it. Because I think a lot of us, at least historically, before social media became a thing and buyers and sellers became very savvy to what we do and what agents don't do, I think we've done a bad job of kind of helping clarify that. So that's kind of the purpose of our podcast and our live, is to kind of help people see the various things that are going on in the market, and how a lender and an agent that knows what they're doing is more important than ever. And when interest rates are 2%, you could get your Joe Schmuck person that just was a lender for 2 days, and you know, your agent friend that's going to charge you, you know, like 0.5% commission, and you're like, who cares? Because the rates were 2%. I'm having 35 buyers come into my house, you know.
Phone just keeps ringing.
It's just a completely different world right now. So I'm sure I'll get people like, oh, I just sold my house and it was perfect, and I sold it by myself. And it's like, okay, cool, good for you. Good for you. Anyways, so it's a negative, real talk tonight a little bit. I feel like.
You know, to stay in
or
that
very
vein,
lecture based, like
to stay in that vein. I saw a video the other day, and maybe you've seen this one. It was this guy talking about, it wasn't his experience. He was talking about some other person's experience. But long story short, I guess the buyers had walked through this house, and the sellers had asked for, you know, just some feedback. And they were like, well, the house needs a lot of work to be done. It's not really in the greatest shape. Well, the buyers ended up writing on that home, and there was a lot of back and forth, and the sellers almost didn't accept it, and then they did, and blah, blah, blah. And they made it really difficult. And I guess the buyers had talked to the sellers towards the end, once everything was almost wrapped up. And they were like, hey, you know, was there something that happened there? Like, this felt like it was really difficult, blah, blah. And I guess the sellers told them, well, your agent told us that the house was no good. And so we honestly didn't want to work with your agent. And I think this was in Arizona. The buyers sued their agent and they won.
Wow.
I was like, man, I mean, to me, that is just crazy that you can't give like that. And I don't know exactly what the conversation was. It could have been a little more than just like, oh, you know, it could use some work. So I'm not sure if my buyers are ready to do that. I don't know what the official conversation was, but like just giving some feedback, and then you flip it all around towards the end, and then they're suing the agent for that. Like, crazy.
I know, it's crazy. It might be the same one, but I don't remember the details of it, but it basically was like, we get these surveys after you go see a house, and they can be cookie cutter and just say, you know, what do you think? Is it overpriced, underpriced? You know, what's your thoughts? And someone had written, I think what happened was they had said that it was overpriced. You know, just that you could say overpriced, underpriced, or just right, or something like that. And you didn't have a choice of writing. So they clicked, you know, overpriced. Well, the buyer, I think, bought it for full price. And so when they made the offer, they made it for full price. Well, the buyer finds out that there's a survey that the agent thought it was overpriced, but they paid that overpriced price. And so there was like conflict with that, of like, they lied, or they, you know, why did they say it was overpriced and then have us pay that full price if it was overpriced? So you got to be careful what you say with that stuff.
No kidding.
It's always hard to give that feedback because you don't know when your buyers are going to come back. You don't want to be rude. to be disrespectful to the seller, but there are some times you're like, I don't know what else to say, but this is really bad. Like, well, and your house is just not ready. Like, it's just not there. So
sure. And you think that you would want that feedback as much as negative feedback sometimes hurts.
For sure.
Especially if it's something more personal rather than, totally. But it's like, you'd want that. I would want that if I was, for sure. If that was the general consensus of like, your house is overpriced or it needs a lot more work than what my clients are willing to put into it, then it's like, okay, maybe we need to either drop the price or fix some of these things.
For sure.
I don't know.
That seems... It's how you say it. I think some agents can come off like super rude with it,
Yeah.
But a little PSA for you sellers out there is, or buyers out there is, I always tell people, like, when we go up to the house, assume you're being recorded. Like, it's not allowed, like, there's rules with it and all that stuff, but just assume it. Just assume that they have something in the house, or assume they at least have the Ring doorbell. Because there's a lot of people that watch their Ring doorbell to see what you're saying, post and pre, like, home visit. So, and there's people that just have stuff in their house that you just don't know about. And so, just a little PSA, point. Be careful what you say. On both ends. Don't be like, I love it, I'll pay whatever they want, or the opposite of like, I can't stand it, it's disgusting, So anyways.
That'd be fun to watch that footage.
Well, I hope that this was somewhat helpful. I didn't mean to be this negative, but I guess
you know what? It sometimes it's
very
just
lectury
needed.
And I don't like it, but
sometimes it's just needed. We're being real. You know, this is real talk. This isn't fake talk.
That's true. That's true. And it's like, it's real talk. It just is. It's super frustrating in the industry when it's, I hate seeing clients and former friends or friends and family or whatever that have an agent that just did terrible. And I'm like, it's just unacceptable. There's no reason not to do your job really well. Like, and it just bothers me when I start to see that. And then you start to see agents, oh, I discount mine. So, okay, you're a bad, you're a bad agent. Like, that's why, you need the quantity. So anyways, off my rant, I hope we're headed to Bend this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Rory's got a baseball tournament. So
nice. That'll be fun.
We're going to be doing that. So that'll be cool. So you got anything crazy going on?
Should be. Actually, so Saturday we don't have any, both boys have bye weeks for their sports. So that's kind of nice.
Nice.
Our church does a thing called Love Battleground. Okay. And it is just where we all like find different homeowners, places, mostly homeowners within the community, that just need work done to their house. They've just got behind, maybe somebody passed recently. So Saturday is our Love Battleground Day. So we get a bunch of people together. I think there's like 100-something people this time. And we all just kind of like spread out throughout Battleground, and a lot of lawn mowing, weed whacking, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, stuff like that. So it should be fun,
man. Yeah, that's really
cool way. Get the kids out there too, and they get to join in. So do that, but it should be a pretty low key weekend.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're gonna miss us on our podcast tomorrow, but next week we should get restarted, huh?
We can double dip next week.
Sounds good. Well, it's good to talk to you, man.
All right, man. You too. Enjoy Bend.
Okay. See ya.